All right, so I'm Karen Harris, and I'm the internship manager here. Just a little bit about myself as well, just because I want to introduce myself. I'm also a RISD alum, so I kind of know what you're going through. So just to be honest, I mean, I know that. And I'm a practicing artist as well, so I really understand that. And I've worked in a lot of the industries that you're looking at too. So with this talk about finding a job and internship, you know, I always think about like, what does it feel like to even think about finding this, your first internship or leaving school or what kind of jobs you're going to be doing. My general feeling is that any internship that you do, even if you have the worst experience, it's great because it really informs you. And it's great that you do that kind of thing. And as the internship manager, I will always encourage trying to have some kind of experiential learning. So I'm going to start now to go through this. So this is about what are your goals and what are your strategies? What are you thinking about? What do you need to do as you're starting this process? You want to convey something that your goals that are effective and your skill level. You want to make sure you apply to valuable employers, that they are the places that you'd like to work. You don't want to settle for things you don't want. So this presentation is talking about what are relevant qualities of employers that you want to work for and how do you find them? Jason's going to go through building your network and talking about how to make a lasting network and how to actually manage that network. So, because we know that you are busy, sorry, come on in. Can you hear me, Jason? Okay, good. All right. So what does this all mean to you? Jobs and internship boards are ways of researching industries. So, of course, Artworks is our job board, and we're going to talk about other job boards. We're going to talk about networking with alumni and LinkedIn and social media, because I think those are things that are really important. Every time I see this networking piece, I think about our director, Kevin Jankowski, how he talks about how most jobs are found through your network, and you are all each other's network. So I always tell students, be kind to each other. You don't know who is going to be in charge after you leave school. So definitely. You all need a resume, cover letter, and portfolio. And we're just going to touch on that. We have several seminars. I don't know if any of you have been to our resume workshop. Did any of you attend that? No? Oh, good. A couple of hands. That's good. So we're going to just touch on that, where it is and how to find that on our website. And we'll talk about like, how do you think about organizing things? Because even though you probably know this, but it's sometimes helpful to kind of hear it again. So do you all know that we actually have a resume guide online that gives you samples of how to create a resume or a cover letter? And also we have several videos about portfolio preparation. Do you all know that? Maybe. Well, on our website, if you go on the career prep, it's right here, and then it pulls down this section, and then you're able to just press, or you could just do a search for resume, and then it's there. So the resumes are from beginner resumes to graduate resumes. So just to let you know that we have the full range as well. So when we're thinking about job boards and industry directories, you really need to think about balancing your search, your job search. So Artworks is RISD's job board. And have you all been on Artworks? Can I see a show of hands of people that have been on Artworks? What do you think of it? Okay, that's good for us to know. Jason, it's confusing. No, Artworks, we definitely know that no system is ever foolproof, but we know that this one we've used for many years, and Jason's worked so hard to make it easy to manage, and we're always updating it and changing it. So I hope some of the details that I can give you tonight can help you navigate it. And also too, you can definitely meet with us to help with navigating it. So the reason why it's valuable is it has over 14,000 alumni and companies we've worked with. Like if you said to me, like, what companies hire RISD people? I tell you, on Artworks, we have this database, which I'll show you where it is later on. But also too, you know, it's password protected. So employers tend to give their email address and other information on Artworks. Okay. So the way that you get to Artworks, of course, you go to our job board, you go to the Career Center's website, sorry, and then you go under jobs and internship, click on Artworks, and this is where it begins. Okay. When you're on Artworks, for some of you that's talked about the confusion of it, there are some simple things you can do that I hope you can take away tonight in thinking about it. So of course, you're going to go to OCI and job. That's the first thing you would do. And then you would get a result of what's there. And that's what I just did. Last week, I did the search. There's about 266 jobs. Artworks is updated daily. So what I can say for Artworks, when I was in school, it was like on paper and then it became digital. So, and it's updated all the time. And I will say a lot of the jobs I've had in graphics and textiles, in jewelry company and freelance was found on Artworks. Okay. So if you don't find something right away, don't worry. The next day it's going to change again. There might be something there. So it's something that you try to set up looking at it. And I know that you're busy, so you probably don't have a ton of time to kind of go through everything. So this is a method for you to understand that you can set it up so you can get an automatic email either daily or weekly. If you're really, you know, getting ready to graduate, you might want daily. But if you don't want a lot and you have time, you might want weekly. So what you would do with Artworks is you can actually set up filters. You just type in RISD majors, and then you can choose your majors. And then once you do that, you go down to the bottom and you say, turn on filters like that, turn on search like that. And then that'll give you an automatic email once a week or every day if you choose. So I did that, and this was an email that came to me last week. And so, you know, I did an internship listing because my search was like, okay, I want to see internships. So I searched that. So for this particular search, I had 15 things that came to me as I was looking for design things. Okay. It's so nice to see like Digitas having, you know, all of these listings here. You know, I get a lot of students ask about like, oh, how do I become an art director? You know, having an internship in an art director's position is something that's really good. Some people might be looking for artist residency. This is the season. If you're a fine artist and you want to apply to a residency, this is the season when all the applications are out, you know. So like the Steel Yard, which is in our backyard, they have micro residencies for 2 weeks. So I would tell you, you know, oh, sorry, Jason has a question.
I also wanted to mention that in Artworks, we source fine art opportunities as well. So,
Okay.
you know, sometimes folks will come to us and say like, oh, there's only ever graphic design jobs. We really wanted to address that. And so actually Brittany is one of the folks that works with our provider to source jobs from NIFA, the Foundation for the Arts, and from Hyperallergic to ensure that we've got fine art and design represented on the platform. And, you know, it's fluid, it changes month to month, but we're seeing like a pretty good close balance between design and fine art opportunities. So I did just want to get that in there.
Oh, that's good. Good news. So these are a few things that I was able to find in Artworks in internship search that was a lot longer list than what you're seeing. So for example, this is for a job in New York for a gallery assistant at this marble gallery, which looks like a really amazing place. It's for full-time employment. So as Jason said, we probably, I don't know if they posted or if we sourced this one, but a lot of the employers do post themselves. So if any of you are interested in like textiles or even just project management at all, this one was from a rug company also in New York. I'm just showing you like a few things. And this one was from Studio Rodriguez. This place is amazing. Like their website is like really a lot of fun. They do a lot of like motion graphics. They do photography. They do graphic design, user experience. Looks like a great place to work. And also just knowing that this company has been consistently coming to our portfolio review, they're not coming this year, but they posted an internship. Okay. They posted a job. So another place that's also was part of that list was Phillips. They're in Massachusetts. And if any of you are in industrial design and you're thinking about strategy, this is a great internship for that. And also if you like medical devices, they are a consistent company that always hires from RISD. One thing that's happening that I'm excited about this week, do you all know that Likers will be on campus this Friday for any FAV? Okay, I see some heads going, yep. Did you sign up? Okay, good. So on Artworks, you're going to find these kinds of listings too, for events. Like tonight's event was on Artworks. So if you're wondering what kind of career events are up, you can look on Artworks. The reason why I put Leica up like this, and I'm showing all of these titles here, I'm showing the titles on purpose because sometimes looking for a job is sometimes understanding what titles are used for the job that you would like. So I'm hoping that if anyone's interested in animation, character development, or production management, that they will attend the Leica talk on Friday. So any questions? Nothing? Okay. All right. So you get a lot of emails from the Career Center, right? No? You don't get a lot of okay, you got to tell me, yes, I get a lot of emails from the Career Center. Okay. My only thing to you all is to open the email first and then delete. Okay? Please. So we send out an email biweekly about jobs and internships. So kind of like what's coming on here, and we highlight a few jobs just to try to get you interested to go into it. If you haven't set up the automatic response or you missed something, it's really important to look in it. So like Tapestry's apprenticeship, if you're in fashion, Coached is part of Tapestry. Kate Spade is part of it. They are looking for ready to wear, handbag design, jewelry design, that was in an email that was sent out to you all. And the registration application closes on the 24th. So just wanted to mention that. Other things that are there, like NASA's 3D animation internship, this was from last year, but I wanted to kind of just show it that it's an opportunity. I also wanted to show, this is a new one for Anderson Ranch. Anderson Ranch is an artist residency. An artist residency, for those who don't know, is a place where artists, after they finish school, or artists that are looking for an experience of a community to make work, like having time and space. So I get a lot of students that'll fine arts, they'll say, oh, I want to be an artist assistant. And you say, okay, who do you want to assist? And they're like, I don't know. You tell me. And I'm like, well, you kind of have to like what the work that they're doing to be an artist assistant. But this Anderson Ranch internship was quite interesting because Anderson Ranch is actually paying like $5,000 for a student to come and live on their campus and to assist the artists that show up in the summer. And as you can see, it's for ceramics, it's for woodworking, it's for photography. So it gives a wide scope of things you can do in this internship. And I'm showing it because it's a fine arts opportunity and it's paid. Okay. In the Career Center, we're really advocates about, making sure you get paid. We can't control everyone, but we do our best. So Meow Wolf is another internship, but this it's kind of like I want to call it amusement place, a gallery. It's created by our alumni. And when you go to this, I went to this place in Colorado in December. I was so amazed. Everything was created. Everything was made. Fabrication, painting, even like there was a crazy woman with a dress made out of paper flowers. And somebody had to create that. And it was an experience going into this room with it. So this is a good internship if you're in Colorado, okay? Or if you're from the West Coast or middle parts. This is a great opportunity. I also want to mention too, if any of you are staying in Rhode Island for the summer, there are jobs that you can have or you can get. So RISD's continuing ed is always hiring students to do during the semester, you can be a TA. In the summer, you can help the summer classes out as a TA. If you're staying here, that's good. If you want to teach a class, like a grad students, you can actually propose a class to RISD Continuing Ed. We try to post some of their postings, but you'd have to go on their website. To see, you have to go on the RISD Workday to see their postings sometimes. So that was me just showing you what's in Artworks. And now I'm thinking about what other job boards and what are the directories there. So one thing that we've done on our website is like we collect everything. So we always tell students, please just start there and then explore out. Because since we've actually worked at trying to curate some of the things, we hope you can look at it. So when you go to our directory here, you're able to find opportunities by major. You're able to find opportunities by your interest. For example, you can find a directory of graphic designers or industrial designers. But we do curate all of them, so you can go in this section and find other job boards on one side and then find the directory on the other. So I just grabbed a few of them just to kind of like just talk about it. So like in architecture, ArcConnect is a really good job board and also a good resource for architects. Interaction Design, the Interaction Design Association. I went in and I looked, and this company and Nation, they usually come to the portfolio review and they haven't come, but I'm just telling you this because they are RISD friendly. And it's right there. You can actually apply. Art Frankly, I'm not able to show you anything inside of that, but that's a great resource for fine arts because you have to join and be a member, and then you get the emails from them. So I was really happy that Brittany helped me out this time. Brittany's over there. She actually was talking about the employer directory when I said to you, we have like 14,000 employers on artworks that we've been gathering and collecting for the last, 30 years or so. When you go into that directory in artworks, you just go on the employer right over here. And then you go on to add a filter. And then you can add an industry search. You can even add a search for people who have hired STEM OPT for international students. You can also say reported paid internship. So you can actually filter your search down so you don't have to look at 14,000 things. Okay. And I think this is a wonderful search to actually know about. Have any of you done the employer search? Okay, good. So just a review of what we've talked about. Artworks is the best place to start. It's exclusive. It's designed for you all. And it's where RISD people do tend to post jobs. So RISD alumni, RISD board, RISD friendly, RISD connected. That's where you're going to find it. You can look at industry specific job boards as well. So one thing I always hear Jason talk about is like considering like if you see a posting for a senior job or for a full-time job and you want to find out if they have internships, they're hiring. So it's a good time to kind of send an email and say, I see that you're hiring full-time, but I'm interested in, do you have that available? So that's also a good sign that people are hiring people. So it's good to see that. Um, so it's also a good way to follow your favorite organizations on artwork. You can put a little heart next to them, and when they post things, you'll be able to see it, quickly because it'll be in your feed. Okay. Um, this part, this little thing about follow-up, it's so huge. So many students will work so hard at sending out so many applications. And when you ask them, did you follow up? Did you find out where it went? And usually they don't. So I want to mention that. So our career programs are really important to sign up to. If you have the time, we're here. We try to be informative about things. So what's coming up next week is the Fulbright info session. Great for grad students. And then for international students, of course, the visa option is always good to go to that. If you don't know about your CPT as international students, this event is very good for you to ask questions, CPT and OPT. And of course, the portfolio review is coming up. So it's really important to be proactive in thinking about networks. So I'm going to turn it over to Jason.
All right. So, Karen, that was a great run through of like all the different job listings. The the first thing that folks think of when they're looking for an opportunity is normally like job boards, which makes a lot of sense. I think one of the aspects that's challenging with job boards, though, is how you're really in this like passive situation. You're waiting for things to be posted according to your criteria. So you can do a great job setting up filters, like Karen had mentioned. You can set up reminders daily or weekly. That's all great. It helps you keep tabs on like the job market, and hopefully it helps you find some opportunities. But sometimes we need something more than that. We need to be more proactive in this process. And this is where networking comes in. Networking, there's a couple of different ways to use it. Networking, I should be clear for anybody that hasn't networked before, and that's totally fine. Anybody that hasn't networked before or know what it is, it's like connecting to folks that are professional out in the world, doing the things that you aspire to do. That's all that networking is. And networking is awesome for designers and architects. It's also a key aspect of fine art as well. You know, the the climate may be different. You may be at a design conference networking, and in fine art, you may be at an opening for an artist that you really like, or to see a show that's hung by a curator that you admire. And that's also your networking. So this is really like a universal feature of finding opportunities. And so fortunately, you guys have a great advantage being here at RISD. Um, you know, you can be pretty confident that the other folks that are out in the world that have gone to RISD are doing good quality work. And when you're looking out into the world for people to connect to, they're all strangers, of course, but they're all fellow designers, fellow artists. And if they're alums, then they have that special connection to RISD. And many alums that are out in the world will be more welcoming to you than an average person, and will want to help folks that are going to their old school. They'll also have a trust level, because not only do you trust them that they're doing good quality work, but they're trusting that you're also working hard like they did when they went to RISD. So there's excellent common ground there. And there's three great features, three great channels, if you will, for accessing your alums. It's got the RISD network, I'll be going through all three of these, the alumni LinkedIn group, and then alumni clubs and affinity groups. So for the RISD network, this is actually one of the few things that the Career Center did not set up, but we're glad to mention it and glad to send traffic that way. Alumni Relations put together this platform through People Grove, and it is featuring alums that have joined the network to be active with the RISD community, and even at the ultimate end, possibly even to serve as a mentor. So like mentoring is like just giving bits of advice, trusted advice from someone that is professional in your desired field that could have really powerful information from you. And a mentorship could be as simple as a phone call for 15 minutes or a Zoom call for 20 minutes. Doesn't have to be like a whole hardcore relationship. And that can be very, very, very powerful. You can use different industries in your search for folks that are on the RISD network. You can use a direct message feature through the platform. And it's just a good way to try to build professional relationships with your fellow alums. So just to give you like a quick preview of what it looks like, it is a separate platform. Here I'm using the mobile app. And you can get to this by this URL, of course, risdnetwork.risd.edu. So that's pretty easy to remember. You can select the industry expertise that you're interested in. And of course, because it's RISD, they customized it to be art and design specific, which is very nice. Here I've found an animator who's responsible for SpongeBob SquarePants. And I could read his background, educational background, some of the topics and expertise that he has. And I could even try to connect with this fellow Christian Evans to see about outreach. And so here I've got like a quick introductory message. Hi, Christian. While browsing RISD Network, your profile came up. I'm interested in learning more about your role as CG animation director for SpongeBob SquarePants. What advice do you have for someone considering a career in animation? I'd love to hear you got into technology and animation and your challenges and successes. Looking forward to hearing any insight you're able to share. So this is almost like an email. It's like a pretty solid message where you are being pretty proactive and a little bit forward with your request. Like you may not want to be this aggressive in a cold email or like a LinkedIn message, but because it's within this network, it's more of a protected space where you can be a little bit more outgoing. Any questions yet? Yeah.
Get this update from the email, or is it like a chat board that they only get if they access it?
And so if I understand the question correctly, like if we do the outreach, what can we respect in return? Is that right?
Or does it reach like an inbox?
That has to do with their preferences and how they set up their profile. Yeah. And, I will say, maybe I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but I love that question. As we know, there's every means that you use to connect with someone or to reach out to someone or to message them, you're never sure if they're going to get the message or if they're going to respond. So really like what I'm hoping to do, and similar to how we looked at like a series of job platforms, because you never know where you're going to find your job platform. Well, we're also doing kind of a similar process here with networking. You never know if you're going to be getting a message from someone through LinkedIn or the RISD network or email. So you try a number of different tools or a number of different platforms to see what sticks. And just to make things more complicated, it depends on the person. So one person might like Instagram direct messages more than someone else that likes LinkedIn. So you just try what you can within reason. So the next thing up are RISD affinity groups. These are excellent very active groups that have different themes. Some of them are industry focused, some are cultural, some are regional. So to get to these affinity groups and to investigate them, you can look at alumni.risd.edu. Here we can see like a subset of the list. We've got RISD alumni, footwear affinity, alumni in animation, fashion, film and television, immersive experience, photography. We've got design educators, Asian alumni, Black alumni, founders and entrepreneurs. Really, like, it's quite a wide spectrum of different themes here, and it's all excellent chances for you to tap your RISD network. Even as a student, it does not prevent you from learning more about this. And hopefully you'll become a participant in this and reap the benefits of it, because not only does it benefit you as a student to be accessing alums, but you'll quickly realize when you go professional and become an alum that you'll be looking for talent. You'll be looking for folks from RISD that may want to take those entry-level opportunities. So being active in this group has mutual benefit in these various groups. We also have the RISD alumni LinkedIn group. And I'm going to be introducing LinkedIn right now. So, and let's see, I want to make sure that I show how to get there. Sorry, one second. So you'll notice that on this page here, and I did back up, so pardon me for doing that. This page here, I mentioned this link. It's the careercenter.risd.edu page, and it's the networking page. On the networking page is where you can find these links. And one of them is this LinkedIn group. I wanted to back up and get to this group link here because before you've joined the group, this is actually the only way to find the group is through this page. Now, it's called the alumni group. That does not mean that you cannot join as a student. And as a matter of fact, we really want you to join as a student. So you need to request to join. And once you're admitted, then you become what LinkedIn considers a second degree connection to over 10,000 alums that are on LinkedIn.
Can I say?
Please.
You must use your RISD email so you can join it as students. Okay.
Yeah.
Does the receipt not have to connect with my LinkedIn or just a random?
So it helps. It helps if it is if it's connected with your email. But as one of the people, there's a number of people that administer this group. So I'm one of the folks, and if I see a request come in and I see RISD, but I don't see your email, I'll just look for ways to verify that you are a RISD student. But you'll make it'll be quicker if you have your RISD email. Yeah.
I'll go to switch to like just keep using it.
Thank you for asking about this. So what the question was like, when you become an alum, do you get an alumni email address or do you lose it? So I can tell you that we do have some inside info on what happened. Google essentially started charging a lot of money for these alumni accounts. So you will retain this email address, but you'll need to provide IT with an email that email can be forwarded to. So what I mean by that is if you get an email to your alumni address, it will actually forward to whatever email you want. It's a bummer that it's not a real email address. However, it will maintain your access to artworks. And maybe this is a good time to mention that you've got access to the Career Center for the rest of your life. And I hope that everyone takes advantage of that. We meet with folks that are 1 year out, 10 years out, maybe considering a career change. You've got access to us, and that's one of the ways that you can access it. Thanks for the question about that. Yeah. It does. It does mean that, unfortunately. The question was, can you send out emails from your alumni email address? Yeah, not at this time. Yeah. And so, I didn't know if there was a question, sorry. When you're looking at the alumni group, you can also search the alumni group by like, let's say you want to see your fellow product designers. Well, it's diminished that alumni group down from like almost 11,000 to 2,500. And you can see there's this cool dashboard thing where it shows like where these folks live and where they work. So you can see like the highest concentrations. Again, like this is where I'm trying to think not just about what job listings are there, but where can I find my fellow people? Where can I find support? This is one of the ways to do it. This is one of the benefits of networking and using LinkedIn. Have I covered LinkedIn enough, or have I skipped over kind of the origin story of LinkedIn? Do people know what LinkedIn is? Is there a baseline knowledge? Cool. Please ask any questions if you have any. So, we talked about LinkedIn, and I think also just to put it in context, because I gave a plug for like networking separate from searching for jobs, right? But of course, these things work really well together. You could find an amazing job at a cool company that you've never heard of before. But then the second piece of networking is crucial, because if you found a cool job and 100 other designers or 100 other artists found that cool job, well, now you're just like in a herd of people trying to get attention. One way to get pulled out of the crowd is to use networking as a means to connect to folks that are on the inside at that company. Those people could be fellow creatives like yourself. I already mentioned that if they're alums, that could be great, but they don't have to be alums. You could connect to a fellow designer or artist or animator and get some inside info about the company and maybe get an introduction to the hiring manager or something like that. Now, because of networking, you've really like exponentially given yourself an advantage in this job application process. And, the events that we put on are really intended to be realistic practice environments for you. What I mean by that is like, I say that they're realistic because we've got companies and organizations that are hungry to get exposure and to get access to RISD talent. And so we've got the design portfolio review lining up for March 13th. This is eligible for juniors and higher and graduate students. So for any of our first year undergrad and sophomores, you'll just need to sit tight until it's junior year. But we passed the 79 mark, I believe, for companies registering. And this will offer opportunities to get portfolio reviews, get feedback on your work and your presentation, which will help you out in the job market. And for fine arts, we do an entirely separate rendition, the fine arts portfolio review. And that's on April 29th, which is better timing for our fine art majors, where their portfolios tend to be more developed and more ready for sharing. Now, I did say that these events have eligibility limitations, but after the event, everyone that is a student or alum has access to the full roster of people that participated in the event. So for first years that are ambitious and that want to make some professional connections, you absolutely can. The day after the event, we publish the names to the website. It's only accessible by RISD folks, and you can look up these people on LinkedIn and introduce yourself. For many folks, there's not enough scheduled times available to accommodate everyone. So really, like when we say that the value in these events is getting these lists and being able to network, it is true. These companies, if they were limited to just the meetings that they had, they likely would not participate because they only get to have so many meetings. getting all of the interest from students and walking away from these events with resumes and portfolio samples and portfolio sites, getting long lists of students that are into their system, that is why they participate in these events. Any questions about the events?
I forgot to mention that you're going to be doing a special program about preparing for that event.
Yes, I am. And that is coming up. You're going to be getting emails about it. It's called Prepare for the Design Portfolio Review. And you know, what's interesting is that it's really focused on preparing for the event. However, a lot of what's covered are universal themes that you would use to get ready for an interview or to get ready for a site visit. So practical information open to all levels of students, not just juniors and higher. So if first years want to come to that prep program, you certainly can. Thank you for asking. We do one for design, and then we do one closer to fine art portfolio review, just for fine art portfolio review. Thank you.
And then if you're a student who kind of navigates both realms, you can go to either or you can go to both. We don't tell you like you can only go to design if you're in a design discipline, or you can only go to fine arts. We leave it up to you to decide.
Yeah, thank you. That is so important. So for networking, to review, start with the career programs, which is actually what I finished with, you know, going through the events, knowing who the companies are. When folks show up desperate in my office and they're like, I don't know who to reach out to, this is where I go. It's like, well, these folks paid money to meet RISD people. I think we should probably start here. That seems to be very effective. Follow your favorite companies and organizations. Like rather than just seeing what job listings are coming through the job sites, start in your imagination. What do you get excited about out in the world that you imagine like, oh, someday I want to work for this organization, or I want to be shown by this curator. Start there and start investigating that through networking. Use LinkedIn, the RISD network. I didn't even mention Instagram, but Instagram especially for fine art, but even for design, it is a decent place to be connecting with other designers, direct messaging, liking and engaging with their content. And it's also a great promotional vehicle for you. If you like using Instagram, you can post updates and hit your followers. And keeping in touch. And Karen talked about this, and we're going to bring it up again. You know, you can make an application, but then if you don't do anything else, it's not likely that you're going to be getting a response. Networking is similar. If you only send one message and then you don't send a follow-up after a couple of weeks or something like that, then it's likely that you won't get anywhere. Any questions? Cool.
Okay. So, this is just really practical information, and you probably do it already, but it's just a reminder that it's the same top 10, following your companies, and then finding a way to organize that information is really important. So whatever organizing systems you use, definitely use it. So if you think about it, like when you were looking for colleges, you probably had a list of colleges, and then you had top 10 and you had your tier system. I remember working with this ID student who was just so organized. Everything had to be organized. So she created a top 10 list. There was a tier list of tier 1, tier 2. She wanted to know where the companies were located, what the fields were, what the contact information is. Do they hire interns? This is where she tracked her follow-up. This is where she tracked all the places that she wanted to work at. I know that it feels like it's like, oh God, I do that anyways. It's a reminder that to find good opportunities and things that really you want to do, it's good to get organized. And especially if you're busy, you can forget the application dates, the deadline dates. But if you have a document like this, as a first year student, just think you'll have it for 4 years of people you've connected with. for your time at RISD. So I will highly recommend some kind of way to follow up. So, now I'm going to go into the internship piece for those who are probably going to be getting internships this summer. So I want to explain that a little bit because sometimes it can be confusing. What do you do when you find your internship? How do you register it for credit? Or do you register it for credit? So I wanted to make sure you know that. So you register it on Artworks. Artworks does a lot of things, and this is one thing that it does. And you can register no credit and credit on Artworks. So this is after you find your internship, and you can find your internship with maybe family, friends, or faculty, wherever you just register it on Artworks, okay? So on Artworks, it's called experiential learning. And it is an automated process. So it automatically gains approval. So once you register it, it goes on to the next person. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. It takes 1 to 12 days. So I know this looks like, oh my God. So it's very easy. But all you have to do is the first thing. You register it. You sign RISD's internship agreement. And what that agreement says is something like, you're going to be a good RISD citizen. You're going to do a good job. You're going to, be a good person in your internship. And then the other part, it comes into the Career Center, which is me. And I look at that experience and I think, and then I start the workflow, and then it goes to your academic department. If you're international, it goes to ISSA, and they provide all of the needed visa material, like your CPT. And then it goes to your internship supervisor, which they have to sign RISD's internship agreement. So this is helpful in case somebody is not paying you, or in case they're all of a sudden they said you're going to work 30 hours a week and now they're asking you to work 60. That's when I call up and I tell them, no, that's not what we agreed to. This is a legal document, so the provost does sign off on it, and then it gets registered on Workday. So I know the process seems like it's a lot there, but there are different types of internships that you're going to choose. For any international students, please just make sure you choose the F1 option. You'll see even for no credit, we tell you if you do the no credit, then RISD can actually, protect you in that sense by calling on your behalf or making sure the company takes care of you. Any questions? Okay. Yeah, that's a good question. The credited internships, like Jason had mentioned, and I had mentioned, you have to be in your departments to get credit for it. You can register for no credit, but the deadline date is the 14th, and by that time, you should know what department you're going into. So that's when you would do it. And it's a simpler process for you. International students cannot do an internship in the US for no credit. They can do one anywhere in the world, but because your visas are for education, it has to be tied to your education. Okay, I saw.
Yeah. But, when does the 7-step internship end? Like, does it only apply for the summer?
Oh, good question. Okay, so you can do an internship in the fall semester, spring semester. The best times to do it is winter session, and summer is the best time. Okay.
What kind of credit is the internship credit?
It falls under major credit or non-major credit. If you're in architecture, you're required to do an internship, and that's a professional internship that's called 2199, ARC 2199. And what that gives you is, after you finish architecture, you have to do some other internship to, like a doctor, to get enough hours. So it counts as 3 hours in that NCARB. So in architecture, it's good. And also, oh, you are. Okay, good. No. I was going to also say that teaching and learning also has a internship requirement.
Those are the specific architecture internship, which, 21.99, is it like a kind of like a credit thing in the US or? does
Oh, you can do you
international-
can do an international internship as well. And you can register for it as long as the company is able to do the evaluations and the description that you're going to give. And there is a language translation between the two. Your department head's going to be the one to decide on if that internship is worth the 3 credits. In architecture, you have a faculty, Leland. We're going to be doing a presentation this end of this week for architecture specific.
So March 15th is the deadline.
No, June.
Oh, okay. My question was gonna be like, last year I applied, I didn't even know about this.
June 14th. I'm going to show that in the next slide, I think. All right. But I just want to mention, so after the initial process of registering it, then it goes through all of these steps. So this is kind of like the internship agreement student sign, the career center. It goes through academic departments. It goes to OISS. If you've done the F1, the supervisor, the provost, and then it's posted on Workday. Okay. And it will say in progress. And to round out the whole internship experience, you have to get the evaluation. One evaluation by students and one by the employer. Okay. And those evaluations are that's how you get a grade on it. And we ask students to please be so truthful in those experiences, because if it's not a good experience, we try not to publicize that employer so other people don't have to have a bad experience, or, if it's a great experience, we want to know about it as well. So, when you have internship question, we have a section on our website called student info and employer info as well. So if you have an employer that's wondering about RISD's internship program, you can direct them there. You can look at it too, and you can answer questions. We have a link about the labor laws there, so employers know that they should pay. Architecture, you need to get paid for your internship to get the 21.99. Leland will tell you that. So just to say, but this is a really good section to actually know about and to look at. So it talks about what's an internship, what qualifies, what eligibility. So for example, you need a minimum of 100 hours for accredited internship. And that's the minimum. You have to make sure your hours add up. For the professional internship for architecture, you need 280 hours. Okay. The registration process is also part of the info. And here's the deadline. So looking at this kind of deadline calendar, the main thing to focus on is that for summer, it's June 14th. Right now is the best time to look for your internships. Your start dates, like if somebody says to you, oh, can you start in May? You try to tell them that RISD finishes a little bit later than other schools. We try to tell students too, like we want you to finish your internship in the middle of August so you can have some time to come back to school relaxed. So, any questions? No? Oh,
There's a lot of like programs that I've come across or internships that like ask you to come end of May and ask you to like leave beginning of September. Like specifically Anderson Branch is one of them.
yeah.
What advice do you have for dealing with that? Like I've applied for those kinds of things, and I think I got rejected off the bat. Or they ask you to say,
Well, we really discourage it. I'm happy to talk to them for you. Anderson Ranch has had RISD interns, and they're used to them not being able to come until a little bit later and having to leave by the end of August. I mean, this for me in the ideal world, I think about students' health. So I think like, you need 2 weeks before you come back to school at least, just to relax, just to kind of know. Because if you started like June 1st and you finish, September 1st, that's too long. That's what, I'm happy to to talk with them if you have that kind of situation and they're like, oh, we don't know, and they've accepted you. I want to make sure that I try to advocate for a change or a way of thinking. RISD just finishes later than other schools because we have our winter session, so. Okay. Any other questions about that? So one of the things that we find that with internships that's sometimes challenging is finding funding for it or finding housing. So we did create some links for you to help you with that. And then I do want to talk about that we have a section where there's actual internship funding. Please, this is one of those email things, we're going to email you to death. You got to open it and then delete. So this is one. So this is like for first year students, there's $3,000 for a discovery grant, for an internship. You might not be able to register it, but if you have this money and you apply for it, you can have that. We also have this $1,000 internship support fund. We know that it's not enough money for anything, but it does help. So let's say, you got an internship in New York and they're not paying you, you can't afford it. And you're getting paid, but it's not tons. We encourage you to apply to this as well. And so some of you might even want to do something in theater. We have an alumni fund, $5,000 for a theater version of an internship or performance. Okay. We also have on the housing section, we just have links of places you can actually find resources for housing at different colleges. So this educational housing service, they have housing all over the country that you would pay them and they find the housing, and it's usually pretty safe. So definitely, anything I'm showing you, if you go on our website and you even just do a search, you'd be able to find it. Like if you searched housing, you'd find it. So I know this is probably you're going to be like, oh, avoiding scam. I know about scams. Well, after COVID, we kind of ended up putting this up on our website because if you have any crazy emails that you feel like, oh, I don't know what they're asking. Well, they're asking too much questions here. Please talk to us. If you're, international students, talk to the international office. Definitely double check,
Karen, if I could,
Okay.
the two things that we saw a lot. The first thing was that people were being hired instantly without even like an interview. That's a troubling sign. And the second one was like, if they ever ask you to take money or to open a bank account or anything like that, it is absolutely a scam. But definitely come and see us, and we work with public safety to make sure everybody's protected.
Okay. So just a final recap here. I know I'm going over my time, so I'm going to rush now, but I want to make sure you have good quality, relevant experience and meet good employers for your experience. And of course, Jason went over all of the networking information. We're there to help you network. I mean, things that we do in our office, we do mock interviews. We help you to kind of find that word that you can't find. Okay. And definitely being organized will definitely help you. You're busy, so you want to organize yourself. So definitely think about making sure you're comfortable and happy with that resume or that cover letter or your portfolio. Meet with us, talk about it, and be persistent. None of these things happen automatically without a little bit of effort. So we know that persistency is so important. So this is our staff. I mean, we look okay. We don't look too dangerous, right? We look like we're helpful, we're nice people, I think, right? You're nice. You're nice. So we're hoping you'll actually come and meet with us. We really want to sit down and talk to you. So we have drop-in hours. If you're busy, 9 through 1 o'clock, Monday and Friday, you just kind of walk in. Our office is right behind the screen. 11 to 1 o'clock on Thursday, on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays, 1 o'clock. And then you can always schedule an in-person appointment for a longer conversation. So definitely come and meet with us. So another detail, please follow us on social media. You know, that's a way to find out information kind of quickly as well. And so, I mean, the reason I copied this one, I'm so hokey. Be prepared for a bright future. So that's it. So thank you all. Thanks for listening.